on.
And ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our fourth episode of XBW Off the Air. Once again, I'm your host, Christian Ross, known as Chris Kona to the wrestling world. And today's a monumental show. A lot of our shows, our first show, our second show, our third show, all of them have been special. Today, ladies and gentlemen, is a monumental show. And the reason why I say monumental show is because out of pretty much everybody that's been on the show today, this guy probably has the most history in XBW history as a worker for XBW. This guy is the reigning title holder for XBW. And this guy has been in XBW through thick and through thin. And he was the backbone, the heartbreak, the man. He was the whole effing show at one point of the company. And I'm going to bring him in today. But before I bring him in today, I got to bring you my partner, the legendary hardcore icon, the man, the myth, not to shoot on AJ, the legend, Sick Mexican.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Thanks for tuning in to the weekly podcast. Tonight we have a very special show, like Chris said. We got the legendary Mysterious G.
What's up, everybody?
What's going on? Long time no see, my friend.
He brought a friend with him, too, today.
Got my redneck drinking team. Don't ever forget, Mr. Budweiser.
It's been a long time, Mysterious G. How's everything been?
I know, everything's been all right.
You know what's crazy? Everywhere I go, people always ask me, what's Mysterious G? How's Mysterious G been? But you kind of fell off the face of the earth, so I'm glad we got you in the show to answer some questions for us.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm happy to be here, man.
Hey, Just, I'm actually going to skip ahead real quick. You know, we usually go by format here on Off the Air, but I'm actually going to skip ahead here because you actually said a good point. You actually said everywhere you go. Just talking to Mysterious G prior to this, Mysterious G was actually with you in the mall several years back and actually got recognized. So for my first question, to kind of start this off with not the usual, how'd you get in, how'd you start? For my first question is, who was that person? Was it a fan? Was it a worker? Do you remember that day period?
Yeah. Oh, hey. All right. Yeah, just remember probably 2004 maybe in Modell's in Franklin Mills Mall. We're looking for elbow pads and knee pads and stuff for the next event. They got this little kid that comes up to us and goes, hey guys, can I ask you a question? We're like, yeah, sure. He goes, are you Mysterious G? And I'm like, yeah. And then you're in the background like, Sick Mexican, right here. And he goes, oh shit, I knew it. He goes, my brother sent me over here. I told you it was him, but he didn't want to believe me. So I was like, oh, where are they at? So we went over to go meet them. It was fucking Sky and fucking, what the hell was his name? Vinny Vinny, Bob. Fuck, he's been gone for so long. That was how very first day we met them. Coming up as fans.
And just being an outsider, that's the first time I heard that story. And like, I knew you guys were big because, like I told you on my podcast, Alexi showed me videos of your guys, and it was something called XBW TV. And maybe both of you guys can kind of elaborate on that. What was exactly XBW TV, and how did that get started?
Well, I could start off. XBW TV was basically an online internet TV concept. You know, we were going to broadcast our best matches within like 20 minutes. I think the limit for YouTube and MySpace is 20 minutes. So that's what basically we put together our best matches, like rounded them up to 20 minutes and broadcasted them, put them on MySpace.
Yeah, we would get together and do some commentary on them and cut some promos here and there, make a whole live show of it. It would go on for like at least an hour, solid hour and a half, if I can remember.
Well, at first, like I said, it was like 20 minutes, but then you're right.
Yeah.
We got them longer and longer. YouTube extended it.
Was that like your Monday Night Raw show? Was that the pay-per-view shows? What was that? What's the concept of that?
That would basically be our Monday Night Raws. I wish we would have elaborated more on storyline.
Yeah, I was planning on being like a weekly televised event, like from previous stuff for fans.
That's pretty cool. No Backyard Fed had that at the time.
No.
Not a weekly one. They had shows, not a weekly one.
And this
at all.
this was kind of the start of the social media era. We started with MySpace, then we branched off into YouTube, but like it was just starting off.
The start of the whole social media.
Right, and that was before social media really got big too at the time. So imagine now, somebody seeing them in the mall now, you know. So yeah, with Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat, things of that nature.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But
It's been a lot bigger now. But yeah, continue, Chris. Sorry.
But yeah, to kind of continue on a little bit, how did you get started? Gimmick, and before Gimmick, how did you get started? XBW period. Were you anywhere else before that, or was this it? And how did you get started?
Well, we actually used to like rest around here and there, just bullshit at like parks and stuff. And then I met Slick Max and Justin at school, and he was telling me how he started this XBW Fed, and he showed me a couple videos. It was mostly him, like Lois and Musa, and he was like, "Yeah, we're looking to get a bunch of people involved." And I was like, "Yo, I'm so interested in this." And he was inviting me to come to a show, so I came down. I seen what it was. I was pretty much hooked from there. So my pretty much intro, I blindsided Sick Mexican as my intro to the whole XBW scene.
Wow. And when you blindsided him, was he the world champion at the time?
He was, actually.
So, and question for you. Back then, you guys weren't storyline driven. Was that a shoot? Was that real? Was that scripted? What was the verdict on that? How did that work out?
It was known I was supposed to be coming the star, but I don't remember. It wasn't technically... I wasn't supposed to just intervene in that part, should I say. Like, I kind of just made my dominance then.
Gotcha.
I didn't need no promo to enter in this.
That worked. Who did you come in with at the time? Do you remember?
Well, originally I came in by myself, and then afterwards I brought in Sniper, and then my brother and Unknown, and then from there on, that's when we got the roster started growing. Justin got a lot more people in, and then it was on like from there. But it was
sweet.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Josh. You can elaborate from here.
Well, yeah, like the Sirius GSA, we started off slow, and he was always a heart and soul of XBW. As we grew, you know what I mean? As he elaborated, we grew with more people. But yeah, we kept on getting bigger and bigger. At one point, we even had like soccer teams in high school. Do you remember that?
Yeah. I remember I think your cousin played for a soccer team that we wrestled for.
That's right. You're right.
At the park.
Wow.
All the little kids were trying to get involved too. We kept trying to kick them.
We branched off pretty big, especially Newman already. Like everyone knew about it.
Yes.
Crazy. It was so much fun.
Yeah, at this time, did you guys have a steady arena? Where were you guys working at? Working shows at it?
Well, originally we were out of Sick Mexican's backyard until we started getting a lot more popular. And then once the violence started growing, when we started doing more like light tubes and weapons and stuff, we moved over to Niglio's to the bedroom, and that's when that was the bedroom era.
The 815 arena. You know what's fun? It was every Friday we had our shows. Like right after school, we had all the rocker kids come over, squeeze in this little fucking room, and just fucking smash light tubes on each other. There was light tubes everywhere. Our nerves were shot.
And one of the best things about it was we always brought fans. It wasn't like it was just our roster sitting there joining in. We had people coming every time for our events.
I marked out. He showed me some videos prior to coming on to this podcast. Not only did you guys have fans, actual fans, but you guys had chicks there too.
Yeah.
Like every other company I worked for, there was a few chicks here and there, but you guys had a steady crowd of women there. Was that friends, or was that because they wanted to see wrestlers, hot guys? What was that?
Well, some were friends, and then word spread, so they wanted to see what we were all about. So it was like friends of friends, and then it was pretty much went on from there.
You know, every time I saw the axe of fire play, I always think of that room. Because we used to always use the axe for the fire spot.
That was when I think we tested out in CVS first. Before to see if it actually worked, because we were going to use hairspray. But the axe was better because it wasn't as big as a can. But I think wasn't the first part. It was me burning your mask.
Yeah, it was. You're right.
And then I thought you got mad at me because I burned your mask, and you had to go get a new one.
And thinking of masks, I watched a video where you had a mask. Explain that. Was that your gimmick coming in? Were you always like this mysterious G guy, or were you the mask guy? And who was it?
The whole thing. That's where my whole name originated from. Was the mystery behind the man under the mask. Nobody knew who I was. I entered in as just a blindsiding sick Mexican, and I was there. I was there on point. I was there just on the top level, and it was just my identity at the time. And the mask stuck for a while until one day, I think me and sick Mexican, or me and Unknown, one of them, were in a match, and I think one of the weapons got caught on the mask and ended up getting pulled off during one of our matches. And I just went with it and said, screw it, it's off now, whatever, let's go with it. We didn't have no take your mask off match, nothing like that, even though that would have been awesome. I probably would have lost it either way. But, and then from there on, I would always do my entrance with it on and take it off when I would start my match. But that was where the whole name personified from.
Wow. And so to kind of just elaborate on that, you said that basically that you were brought in as a top guy. And just doing a little history and a little bit of homework on you, I heard that you started with Sick Mexican, your first feud. You debuted against him. I heard he hired somebody to take you out. Who was that person?
It was my own flesh and blood. My arch nemesis, the family, the brotherly bond we have. It was constant. One of my biggest rivalries to this day is my brother. The Unknown.
And for people that don't know, that is
my twin brother. The Unknown was from day one my biggest rival, and to this day would always be my biggest rival, as much as we love each other.
Now you brought up how you won the world title many times, and ironically, today is 2016. So one of the title changes that happened, that you won, happened 10 years ago today on our 6606 show. And that show was the show that we brought in the world itself, the XBW Championship. Do you remember that?
That's right.
How did holding the real belt, how holding an actual belt, a legitimate belt, being a real champion?
Well, originally it wasn't expected. And then I remember you surprising where you debuted it. And for me to get it was an honor. I was never expected it, but I knew I had to step up my game and make sure that I wouldn't lose it and keep a good name for myself. And it was just awesome, like having a full-blown like championship around that I can actually be proud of.
So there were times when you had real fights in XBW that shit went down. A lot of people think it was unprofessional. What's your take on that?
Well, which one first?
Well, there was too many to name. A lot of people said there was a lot of Chiefs and Indians. You know what I mean? What's your opinion on that? Was it like unorganized?
Well, just one of my real life beefs that were one that originated was, I guess, with Niglio, the cameraman at the time. See, this is when we were in the bedroom, when we were doing our whole thing, and originally it was me and Kid Monster were going to form a tag team. And me and Chris snuck him in the building because he got banned because he wasn't allowed in during one of the events, which led him to halt the show and evict us all. So basically, we were just like, okay, the cameraman's setting all the rules now. So that's when the whole Chris started his what was what the hell was it?
Ultraviolet?
The VCW.
VCW, yeah.
That we were our thing was, all right, if we're gonna get kicked out by this, we're gonna try to steal your members and go on head to head, kind of like the WWE WCW invasion type thing. Except it didn't go anywhere. And then we found out Kid Monster got let back in. And this was like a month later or something like that. And we were like, well, how the hell did he get let back in? And we're sitting on the sideline here still. So we used him as a mole. So we let them do their thing for a little bit before Chris came back, and then I came back. But the best part about it was after I got kicked out, you brought in the Sarge for the very first time. And this dude was trashing me on the fucking web. Trashing me. Calling me out for a bunch of things. And I loved how he decided to want to come to XBW after I got kicked out. So one night, out of the blue, we just said, fuck it. Karuba let us in. We stormed up that, and during one of Sarge's matches, I came in and super kicked his ass right out and knocked him out. Not really knocked him out, but I made it cost him the match. And then from there on, we had a really strong hatred towards each other. We got a big scuffle down by the bedroom. He pulled my hair like a little girl. I remember that. But ever since then, our feuds were just on point. And then we grew a huge bond after that. And I loved every second of it. Like, I wouldn't have to change anything from the get-go.
And from what I'm hearing, it sounds like you were really big from the first day that you started in the company. Your debut, your actual debut, you interfered in a match.
Mm.
Your actual debut match, was that versus Sick Mexican?
Yeah.
And at the time, was he the world champion?
He was, and that's where I took the belt from him.
Oh, your debut show, you won the world title.
For the first, yeah.
Wow. Now, to kind of elaborate a little bit more on that, because you had several world titles. I mean, you're one of the most illustrious characters in the whole of XBW. There was a hot group out that had several different factions in it. I believe you might have been in the first one, the Sick Army.
Yeah, actually, me and Justin were, I think, the originators of Sick Army. Like, we were, after me and him went back and forth, I think it was your idea, Just, we started a tag team because we were the dominant people at the time. And we figured we would start up, even though you kicked me to the curb and brought my brother in. And then that's where it stuck after that point.
For the second time.
For the second time.
Now, I have something. You were talking about Kid Monster, the whole situation where you and Kid Monster, everyone got kicked out for a little bit. There was a trip you guys took down to the mountain. Can you elaborate a little bit on that? Everyone has a different story, and I want to know your point of view.
He comes up to him and goes, "Hey guys, my uncle has a cabin in the Poconos. Why don't you come down for the weekend? We'll all hang out. We'll wrestle in the wood. Well, the wood here, it's his home, like, turf, but we'll, like, wrestle. We'll bullshit. We'll go camping. We'll barbecue." I'm like, "Oh yeah, sounds awesome." So my brother, unknown as Sniper, decided to want to join in. We get up there. The day we get up there, we got put right to work, and it's like, what the fuck? We're chopping wood. We're fucking doing it. Then we get the fucking dinner bell goes off. Lunchtime! And then fucking, they sit on their straight fucking time frames. They were like, it's lunch, dinner, supper, you're done. After that, there's nothing. They would lock the pantry. You couldn't get in nothing. You had to be in bed by like 10 o'clock to be up by 6 to go back to work. If we knew that was going to be the case, like, we would have never got there because there was no vacation. We worked the whole fucking time. And then the best part about it was his idiot fucking cousin who walked around, he didn't wear socks or underwear. His fucking fattest walk around, play Risk on his fucking PlayStation 2, and then bitched when people would beat him because he was a sore loser and throw his controllers. And then, like, he ended up, one day, he got so mad he was playing and didn't want to play, or he didn't want to put the controller down. He ended up shitting himself. And then we smelled it, and we were like, dude, who shit? And he was like, oh, no. And I'm like, yo, who farted? Because originally we thought it was a fart. And then he stood up, and he used to wear those, like, ball shorts. And it fell out and, like, stuck him on his foot. And it was sitting on the floor, a whole turd. And then we were just like, ew, he shit himself. And then, like, we made fun after that. And first off, I wanted to fight him because he threw my hat in a lake the first day we got there. He was trying to be one of those redneck bullies, like, with his dip in his mouth and shit. Oh, and that's why his uncle's best friend, his name was Carl, who did turkey hunting. He was a straight-up hillbilly, lived, like, down the fucking hill, like, in a shack. He hog-tied me. He came over, he was like, run, boy. He fucking hog-tied me, and they left me there for an hour, like, wrapped up in this, like, hog tie, because he was all, like, to prove a point that was like, there's no way you can actually throw a rope and, like, catch anybody if they were running. He was
and this
like,
was real. This was
hardcore real. They left me fucking there for an hour. They disappeared. I was stuck on the lawn, wrapped up, my arms and legs wrapped up, like an asshole.
How did you get out?
They eventually came back to let me out. I could not get myself out. The way this is like southern fucking rope ties here.
I hear this story a lot. Elaborate on who was all there too, so I can kind of have like the full picture on.
At the time of the hog tying, or just
the time of the trip.
It was Kid Ronser, Karuba, Chris, Sniper, me, and Unknown, Michael. And we drove up with Karuba's dad. And that was pretty much as far as us. And then when we got there, it was his uncle's wife, who had like MS or something. She was driving on a wheelchair and banging into shit. And then his like cousin, who's shitting on the floor, who smelled his ass because he went shower and his uncle had to keep telling him to go take a shower. And he was so fat that he didn't have to work, that we all had to fucking work and do double the work because his ass didn't want to do anything. With his black feet, because he never wore socks and shoes. So he walked around with his dirty ass feet.
Oh,
it was the worst. It was the worst weekend ever.
I heard you guys got burnt out of money. That's like a lot of money.
I didn't get the burnt out. Michael got burnt out of money. Like, he was just like, Kruma's dad was like, I'll get you. Can somebody, I got to pay gas. Michael's like, all right, here, take it. And he was like, all right, well, I'll give it to you when we get there. Oh, there's no ATM. Well, we're going to go we're going to go shopping. Michael's like, oh, can you make sure you go to the ATM? Oh, yeah, sure. They go buy all this food and they go, oh, well, I didn't get stopped at the ATM. I'll get you. And then it's like, oh, wait, we went fishing. We got up at like 5 in the morning to go fishing. And he's like, oh, I got to go buy bait. Could somebody get this? Michael paying it again. And I'm like, what are you doing? Stop being stupid. He got burnt like fucking $150 or something at least. Just like the whole weekend, it was Kruba's dad with his little hands. Because he's a little guy.
Well, from what it sounds like,
it was an awful fucking weekend. Awful.
That weekend money sounded awful, and a couple other times may be awful too as well, or they may have been fun. A lot of times I heard there was real fights, real prompt run-ins around that time in the company. Please explain the impromptu run-ins during the time, and elaborate on if they led to real fights outside of the company, inside of the company. What was going on during that period of XBW?
Impromptu run-ins.
Impromptu run-ins, like the one where actually you made your comeback against Greatness, for example. Or your comeback show after you got fired. Just to give an example.
Yeah. Me and Greatness had our big ordeal. And then, I'm trying to think for which one?
Well, you came back, made a comeback. Your first comeback. You did an impromptu run-in.
Oh, I super kicked the Sarge.
There you go.
Greatness.
Was that a shoot? Was that
no,
real?
That was a straight shoot. I didn't know him at the time. All I knew of him. And I never met him before. I never met him before.
That's your first experience.
That was my very first time ever seeing him face to face. He was talking so much trash to me on the internet. And the fact that I wasn't there, and then I found out he was a part of XBW. And like, I was gone for at least like 2 months before I said fuck it, and I just went back. And I guess at this point everyone was cool by it. They let me back in, thank God.
Did they know you were there at the show?
No. Like, I just went, who's wrestling? And I went up and I just interfered, and that was going to be my thing. And it just happened it was Sarge. I went, you know what, fuck it. I don't like this guy anyway. Because I never met him. And so I just went and super kicked him. I cost him his match, and that's where our feud started in there. We ended up getting in a fight, I think, not this show, but I think the previous show in the locker room.
Fist fight?
Yes, a straight-up fist fight.
And this is a shoot?
This is a straight shoot. He did not like me, and I did not like him. And it was just at the point where we started getting into a verbal agreement, or disagreement, and it was at this point where it was just like, swing. And I was like, okay, so I swung. And we got in a scuffle. Everybody broke it up. Justin was worried about his little Gundam models, whatever the fuck they were, the Transformer shit getting broken. That he was like, get out, take it in the hallway. So we took it in the hallway, and I remember him pulling my hair. People pulling a Cornell Kid Wonder going, come on guys, just break it up. I remember his like belly in my face.
Wow.
It was a straight shoot. And then from there it was like we had a match that was straight stiff. I don't remember how that ended. Then I remember we had an Iron Man submission match that went on for 1 hour where nobody submitted. And it went on previously longer because nobody wanted to give up, to the point where he finally gave up because we were just exhausted, and it was just like a straight up draw anyway. But like from that, like I gave him a lot of respect because he never backed down, I never backed down, and it got to the point where it was like, all right, I can start seeing that this guy's tough, and I can appreciate it. And we didn't have a lot of that back in XBW at the time. It was a lot of like back and forth, like, and it was not a lot of like people being standing out at that time. But I loved every second of it, and that's where we had a awesome friendship now because of that.
Wow. And kind of elaborate a little bit more on that situation. And like we said, we got a video playing in the background from one of you guys' first shows.
G-Time.
Yeah. The world title belt got switched over to the real title belt, like Valencia elaborated on earlier. Was that just handed over to you? Were you the champion, or was there a certain match for that? How did that get brought into the company?
I think it was just, if I can remember, it was handed off to me because I was already the champion at the time, and like I said, it was a surprise because nobody expected the whole title to get changed so, or at least at one point, like the way it was. And like I said, I was shocked, and now it was like a championship we could be proud of at this point, because now like we were getting so popular to the point it was a good thing, starting point for us to be serious as like a federation type thing. So I think it did wonders for us.
That was about the time around 2006 we kind of merged with SRWC and the whole takeover situation. And we got the SRWC arena, the XBW arena. What's your take on that? What's your memories on that?
Well, the first memories I remember you coming up to me and saying, "Hey, I've been talking to these guys on the internet. They have their own group called SRWC."
Can I stop you for 1 second before that? Just, I'm going to ask both of you guys this question. That first show, actually, I'm going to take a step before that. I seen a match between you and Chris Sniper during an SRWC match. And I asked Chris Sniper the same question. Was Mysterious G, and Mysterious G, you could tell me as well, were you supposed to be a part of that first show? When him and Chris went down there, what happened, why, and tell me that part too, along with your memories as well.
Originally, this is what I was saying here, to answer your question. Sick Mexican came up to me and said, I met these guys online. They have their own company. They really liked our stuff, and they wanted us to come down. You came to me and said that they wanted you and me to come down to have a match at their event. Unfortunately, I got stuck working and I couldn't go. Sniper ended up taking my place. And then you put on a hell of a match because I watched it after the fact. And then I think that next week, the three of us went down. And then that's when me and you end up having our death match there at the SRWC. And I think that was the last time I've ever stepped in a ring with you. And as far as a death match or anything.
Yeah, that sounds about right. That's you're 100% right. The original plan when we got invited was they seen me and your work. And you guys are pretty good. You guys are the best at the XBW office. So why you guys come down? So that was the original plan, like you said. But you were stuck. Your schedule, our schedules clashed. So you couldn't come down. So Chris took your spot. But yeah, you were the original one that was coming down with us.
And just to elaborate on your match a little bit, you had death matches. I mean, please explain your experiment with death matches, because you used to kill yourself. You used to say, fucking XBW, baby. And there was people in the show, out of the show, that used to say that slogan that you used to say. And you used to kill yourself. You used to kill yourself in these matches. Explain to me what was going on with that match. Did you guys want to set a tone during that match? And explain yourself with the death matches, because you did plenty of them before that as well.
Yeah. I got to give Sick Mexican credit here, because he was the innovator to bring everything to this, and I was pretty much one of the reciprocants of it. But yeah, when we went to the SRWC event, we knew what we already had. I don't know how familiar they were, but I knew we needed to represent our brand and prove to them, like, this is like a top company here. And if you remember, like, our death matches wasn't just straight light tube, chair shot, table, fire. Like, we did full-blown wrestling involved, too. And we made it so interesting. Like, I remember we had the ladder on the side, and we set up the 2 tables that were on fire. Remember, you hit me in the light tube, and then I fell through them. And then I remember they were trashing us the entire time from their commentary, I think. I think that's what Stan told us before.
Real deal, man.
And I was supposed to see that, but I never did.
I got one thing. In that match, I want to remember. I think we were doing like a twist of fate or something, and we turned we turned one way, my body turned the other way, and that's what I remember. I kind of blacked out from there. I was like, Jesus,
yeah,
give me a minute, let me recuperate. That's all I remember. Man.
The good thing about that was, like, we were towards the end of our match. But then I remember I remember the ending was where I would put you on my shoulders, I would turn you to like my jawbreaker thing, which I did on the edge of the table. I remember the edge of the table hit you on the chin, which you went up like this and it went down, where I finished you off with the Cheeton to end the match. And then, not surprising, here comes the shoot where Stan the Man Styles comes to trash talk at the end of the match, which never was supposed to happen, to run his mouth about how we're a garbage company, because, you know, he was the voice of SRWC, mid-card wrestler at the time. And I went out and super kicked him as to say, hey, I'm the top dog of our company. You don't talk to us like this while we're here. Like, we don't care if your boys are here. We'll take on everybody. We'll lose trying if we have to. And that's where the ball went rolling as far as me and Stan's feud. From there on. He was the voice of SRWC. I was the voice of XBW. And then we started invading their company every week after that point until we took it over.
And that's crazy because your feud went on for a while with Stan. Your feud went over for like a year or two, if I could recall.
No, it was, I think, a solid 6 months.
What is it?
I think it went on for a solid 6 months. Because I think we went in August is when we started our feud, which was their anniversary show, which is when we took it over, once their company died. And then our feud pretty much ended after I dropped the belt to Stan. And I think that was in November.
Wasn't it a Hardcore Halloween?
No, it was after that.
Was that a Santanium show, right?
It was at we had a, I don't even think it was a pay-per-view. That was when it was me, Kona, and Stan in a triple threat. And then it was an elimination. We took out the big guy first, and then Stan ended up beating me clean for the belt after that.
Well, I'm gonna skip it. I'm gonna skip before that real quick. Before that match even came upon, you were the world heavyweight champion at this time.
Yes, it was.
At the time, XBW, you were the commissioner at the time. Justin was the owner at the time. So you guys kind of had say on where you wanted things to go at.
Yep.
So at the time, there was kind of a little debate going on you were taking a little hyena away. I believe to get a tattoo as a shoot, to be completely honest, away from the company for a couple of weeks, needed to heal up, then wanted to get messed up. You were supposed to drop the title belt. And at the time, the power was the person who had the belt. Drop it to whoever they wanted to. Who was the person in mind? Why did you want to do it? And what actually came from that? Okay,
well, I had the belt for probably a year prior to that. So I was at this point, it's like I'm ready to, like, I wasn't one of those guys where it's like, I need to hold the belt forever. You're not good enough to lose it. Like, if you deserved it to enough to the point where, and everyone was cool with it, I was all right with losing it. It didn't matter. But at this point, XBW took over SRWC. And I was planning on getting a tattoo finished. So I needed the time off. And I was like, all right, well, who would be a good candidate to lose the belt to for a month or so, whatever the case may be? Because originally I was supposed to lose it and then get it back that later on, like as a trial runner type thing. And Mr. Politics Stan came in and demanded he wanted to be in the title picture. And the problem I had with that was that in SRWC, Stan was a mid-card wrestler. He wasn't the champion. Digger was the champion, the big Digger. He lost it to Adam, who closed out their babyface of their company. Stan was the mid-card. He was so bitter about that he was so adamant on fucking his company over to join our company. And in my opinion, anybody who just comes in, I felt like they need to pay their dues at least a little bit before we just drop a belt on them. And I wanted to give the title to somebody who was around for a while, somebody you wouldn't expect it, somebody to see what they can do with it. And I wanted Sniper to win originally. And Stan had a big ordeal with it. I remember they had Christian, Conant, Unknown, and I think Sniper and Stan were on three-way and had a big... I wasn't involved in this, but I know they had a big discussion about it. And Stan said his piece, not realizing Chris was on the phone. And then Conant was just like, yeah, because at this point he started
calling Justin back, too.
Oh, that's right. And then I know...
I met at the diner that same day. I met at the diner with you guys.
Yeah. And then it got to the point where I was like, fuck it, fine. Up to Chris. But even though we did have our trial, like me and Chris had our 2 matches where it was like a trial thing, which everyone always says was a bad match. Honestly, it was a lot of back and forth, but it was like, it was good. It was just a lot of like solid, like just the same, like good closure. And we're like, all right, this guy can do what he can do. And the problem was after we got to the point where it was just everybody said fuck it and gave Stan what he wanted in a way, but not really. What we did was we had me and Sniper have our match. Towards the very end, Stan run in, interfere, and steal the belt, which caused me to lose still. He caused Chris to win still by disqualification, but me to retain the title, but he stole the belt from me. So I was out for that month or so, and that's where the week before the Halloween show, it was Conant and Stan versus Sick Army. And Stan had the belt because he was complaining he was the champion now, even though he didn't win it. I snuck in, interfered towards the end after the match, and I hit you both over the heads with chairs. And I challenged him at the hardcore hardcore event or the Halloween show.
Hardcore Halloween.
For my belt back. Like, I'm challenging for my own belt. Because he didn't bring it with him because he knew I would want it. So that's when we had our Halloween show and we were the main event. Or we weren't even. We were the main event. Right? And I got my belt back. Because, yeah, I beat Stan. What? That was a 2-3 slate when it was singles with us? No, we never had. We had 2 singles matches, and each time I beat him.
Yeah. During that period, you guys were killing yourself. Mm-hmm. I mean, every match you won out, you were Sami Zayn. You were killing yourself, AJ style. Every match going full blast, whether it was 2 people or 25 people, you were killing yourself. And there was a point in time before I got to XBW where there was an angle that went down. And I'm not aware of this fully because I wasn't there at the time, but I was aware of the second one. You had neck injuries. Yeah. Were they shoots? Were they work in both times? And if they were a shoot, who did them?
Well, I fractured my neck actually when I was younger. So doing all this wrestling shit, I'm surprised I went as hard as I did and did a lot of the stuff I done. But during one of our matches, it was when Chris Conant became the leader of the replacements because they were awful, and he was going to teach them the ropes. Mm-hmm. We had a triple threat where it was 3 guys that hated each other that was never going to be a good tag ever. It was me, Unknown, and Stan Styles. And we didn't get along at all during the match. Like it was just a bombshell waiting to happen. And here we go, Sky, who was really big-headed at the time. And I don't want to knock him just yet. Yeah, Sky, AJ. But he had a special that we kept telling him that you had to change because he was only able to do it to Little Ace at the time. And he wasn't able to do it to everybody else. He kept saying, oh, yeah, I can do it. So during our match, he goes to do it to me, which is how he was supposed to eliminate me anyway. I was supposed to be the first eliminated for our team. And when he went to do it, he ends up dropping me on my neck. Now, when he did that, I didn't tell a lot of people this, but once I hit my neck, my entire right side went paralyzed, and everything went numb. And I pulled I think his little brother at the time was the referee, and I yelled for him to come over because after he pinned me, I was still laying there. If you ever watched the tape, I'm still laying there, and I asked him to help me move out, and he rolls me out of the ring because I couldn't move at first. And I got really scared, and I didn't know what to do. I was instantly pissed off, and then I was instantly scared at that point. And then after, I started getting feeling again. And I think they call that, stingers?
Yep,
and
that's true.
I was like, all right, hold on. So afterwards, when I got home, I woke up and I couldn't move. So I didn't go to the hospital like I should have probably. I just dealt with it. I was doing heating pads, and I missed a solid 2 months because of that. And I remember he was, every show he's running his mouth saying how he broke Mysterious G's neck and all that. And it was just like, I was like, all right.
And that actually elaborated to, from him being in the Kona replacement, it's given Sky one of his biggest pushes ever. And the anniversary show, I believe it was.
That was when I got my revenge, but...
got your revenge in a 3-way match with you, Unknown, and Sky in that match, correct?
Yes. We had an elimination table match where it was me, him, and... I don't remember if it was supposed to be just me and him, and then Unknown wanted to get involved like he always wants to do. So... the three of us had an elimination table match where obviously there was a lot of back and forth. It was a really decent match. He went through the table first, and then I took a tombstone off that 5-foot ledge to the floor on through a table.
I remember that. I marked out.
And then I remember Sick Mexican, this was your comeback. This was your comeback back on camera after being hiatus, after being dropped on your head.
Who did he work?
He beat up me and my brother after that match. I remember they dragged me into the ring, and they put Michael on the turnbuckle, and he curb stomped me where my head hit, or my face hit his balls under the turnbuckle. Wow. And that was Sick Mexican's first show back on camera. As is like, fuck yous, I'm going to take yous all out.
Wow.
Now, real quick, do you still have neck pain that incident?
I saw what?
Do you still have neck pain in that incident?
From time to time, not so much. Like, I've been trying to do a lot more stretching and stuff. I had a neck brace where if I would have random neck pain, I would wear that just when I would sleep. But I've been okay for a solid couple of years now. Since it's been, almost 10 years or 9 years since we've done this.
And kind of segue in that, I'm going to come in here real quick. Kind of elaborate on where Sick Mexican's kind of going at. I don't even know if I let him know this yet, but recently I emailed Diamond Dallas Page, let him know about our podcast or whatever. He's very interested in being a sponsor for us too as well, to kind of put over his DDP yoga, put over the Max Packs, things of that nature. So guys, when you're watching the video, put a like sign up, put comments down. That helps us out a lot. Diamond Dallas Page, a WCW guy, DDP Yoga, will soon be one of our sponsors very soon. Kind of plug that in.
I give that man proud, yeah.
But to kind of continue on, too, I mean, you were killing yourself for XBW, killing yourself. 5-time world champion. You remember all your matches you had during the title bouts and who you beat for them?
I know me and Sick Mexican went back and forth, which, just, I don't know if you remember, you're a 3-time XBW champion. Because originally me and you went back and forth for that first, I think, year.
The first early year.
Yeah.
After 06, we never won the belt again.
Yeah, because originally it was you, me, and then it was back to me again, and then I lost to my brother, and I got it back from him. And then that's when the new belt came involved. And then that's when I had it for the year, that whole year after that.
There wasn't a battle royal during that point in time?
Which,
for the new belt? Why am I thinking there was a battle royal?
Not for
I watched the video with Sarge or something. Why am I thinking there was some kind of battle royal around that time?
I think that was for the Money in the Bank.
I know that. But there was another battle royal. We were actually talking briefly on it before we came on, too. A battle royal that happened. It might not have been for the belt, but a battle royal. Not ringing a bell, fan.
I can't even think at the moment. I'm sorry.
But the elaborate on your title wins. Who were they?
Well, like I said, it was Sick Mexican and me, and then my brother, and then back to me again. And then by that point, I had it for the whole year to the point where we got the new belt. And then that's when the last probably time I had it. And that's when I lost the stand. And then after that, I've never been in the title picture after that.
Right.
And I've never really was the same after that.
Yeah, and maybe why you were taking a lot of things on at the time. At the time, I remember promoting a promotional video of our comeback show where I actually versed you, Sam versus Mike, in a double main event, and we're going to announce the new commissioner.
Yeah.
But at the time, I don't know if a lot of people knew this, you were the acting or maybe the shoot commissioner. And then it became Cage. How did that happen? How did you originally get the commissioner job?
Well,
was it a shoot commissioner job? And how did it go to Cage?
Well, originally, since me and Justin were around for the longest, or should I say, pretty much since day one, we had a lot of say in the matter.
Tenure.
As for a lot of, for at least the title and all that. So when we started going to stands, once Jason Cage came in and we found out that he was a good talker. He only had, I think, 2 matches in XBW.
Well, he got hurt, I heard.
Yeah, apparently he had a bad back.
And it got hurt by?
Sky, doing the Sky is Falling.
As usual.
Which I have taken, which it fucking sucks.
Sniper hasn't taken that move yet.
Lucky motherfucker.
No.
But I give that man pride because I was like, this guy is great manager material. He would be a good person to take over the reins as commissioner. Because I was an active wrestler at the time. I'm like, I don't need to keep doing both. So I'm like, why don't I hold it off as a new commissioner? And at this point, I wasn't even, Conan was in doing booking and stuff. So I was like, I don't need to be here anymore. So I was going to pawn it off to somebody who at least was a manager or just a voice for
something to do.
Yeah.
And he fit the part very well.
And he fit the part very well. And that was, or at least we had our match then.
Right.
And he took over for us. And I like Cage because he was in my corner a lot of the times after that.
Hey, the thing with Cage was, and the total shoot, the thing with Cage was Cage just thought that by giving him the commissioner, on-screen commissioner, that he was the real commissioner. Now, was that true to a fault? Or was that a work?
It was true to an extent. It was part work. Like, we would like his input on things, but it was a lot of more of like, because Conan was doing the booking and Sick Mexican was doing all the behind the scenes. So it was a lot of like, mostly it was like their say in a way, like they would take your input into consideration. But he was still like the acting commissioner at that point.
Now,
even though it was
Mysterious, I got a question for you. I want you to elaborate on the Chris Conan booking. I want to fast forward a little to the King Crusher era. There was a very controversial storyline involving his girlfriend at the time, who's a baby daddy storyline. Was there heat between you and Chris Conan at the time? How did you like the angle? Was it interesting for you, or did you find it offensive?
Well, the problem, the angle never really happened. It never got started off.
Never finished.
As soon as we were going to start it, which I at first I was hesitant on it because I'm like, it's kind of stupid. And then I was like, you know what, fuck it, it works. I wasn't doing anything else at the time. I needed a good storyline to be in. So.
And you were kind of doing it with the Ace as your son.
Yeah, Ace was my son. Little Ace, even though the fucking kid's taller than me now and he's like way bigger. But it would have been a hilarious storyline to like fill in the slot. It would have been a lot of just to see me starting to change my whole John Cena character type thing to go into like where I would start losing my mind in a way. Where it was like I was just in paranoid all the time, accusing people of like, did you fuck my wife? Did you fuck my wife?
Hey, here's the thing, Just, with that, Just, to kind of elaborate on that, Just. At the time, the Tom era was, I was storyline guy, so I wanted to keep everybody involved in the storyline, no matter if they were low card, mid card, high card, wherever they were on the card. I wanted to give them some type of storyline because backyard wrestling's fucking fun. So I want to have fun with it. I didn't want to offend anybody with it. You know what I mean? But I wanted to have fun with it. But also I wanted to laugh because DV1 made this shit so fucking funny that I needed a second segment to be like, all right, this is funny. We're drinking at night. We're all going to my boy's house at night sipping. Who is it? Is it a black guy? Is it the real guy? Is it Beast? Is it the gay guy? Is it Sarge? Is it fat AJ that has no chance with any girls? You know what I mean? Like, so I got interested, and to be honest with you, I didn't have a real ending on who it was going to be at the time. You know, eventually we would have ended it with somebody, and tried to make it make sense. You know what I mean?
I think that angle was perfect to get someone over. You know what I mean? Like it's
right.
one. So I think that was a brilliant angle, and it made people interested. You know what I mean? People that don't like wrestling would want to watch it and be like, "Wow, this is drama. This is like Jerry Springer shit." Now I have a question from back on with the Booker Chris Coney. Sniper elaborated on it that there was heat you guys with the gym membership.
There was. And here's the thing. We joined the gym membership. We were supposed to have a free showing. It just the guy talked in, and he pretty much talked us into joining membership. We ended up signing like a 2-year contract or something. My credit card was down, so between the three of us, we all had to pay. They would give me money for each month, so we would pay for the gym membership. After a certain point, Sniper lost his job, so I let him slide. I'm like, all right, well, I'm working. At least I can cover this. Pretty much after that, Chris stopped paying me. And he kept telling me he's going to give it to me. He's going to give it to me. Months go by. Same story.
Young-minded, being an asshole.
Same story. And it got to the point where I was just pissed off, and I was like, fuck it. Like, either give it to me or don't give it. Like, at least tell me to my face that you're not going to give it to me instead of telling everybody else you're not going to give it to me. And it got to the point where it was like, you know what, I'm done. Like, if this is the way you're going to be, then I don't want to even have a relationship with you at all. And that's pretty much where it became.
Right. And it was just more of young-minded, being an asshole, just having an ego, having a big head, and just being stupid because it was probably like 10 years ago from now. Mm-hmm. And I was immature and like just had a big head and like probably had a didn't give a fuck mentality compared to like over the last 5 years where I've really changed, you know, work and you know, really see life. And after I had a kid, like a lot of shit changed and I was like, damn, I really did a lot of fucked up, some fucked up things when I was younger or whatever. And yeah, that was a fucked up situation at the time because like me and him were closer than me and Sniper were. Me and him used to drink every night at his house. Like I was a huge Survivor fan. He knew fucking how he was. I was like a mark for that. Like I used to go over his house even during the week when XBW shows wasn't on just to watch XBW shows. I used to bring my girlfriend over, my side girlfriends over, just to chill with him so he can have a partner to chill with too at the time. Like we were that close. And it was kind of like a jerked off situation, but I guess like I had such like a fucked up mentality at the time. I had the who gives a fuck mentality that it ruined like a good friendship at the time. And we were really, really, really good friends at the time. Like really good friends. Friends with his fucking father. He's friends with my family. And it was just a jerked off situation. So it led to real heat outside of the ring.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you guys for elaborating. I have one more question. So, last show you were at for XBW. Last show you guys ever, actually, I think both of you guys, that was the last show you were ever on XBW TV. You were in the main event picture. You were, it was, I believe, you, Unknown, Beast, and Craven. Going into that show, there was a lot of tension. There was a lot of people that were going to dump shit. You remember going into that show in the woods? You were the main event.
I do remember that show. I remember I built a fire. I remember the first match was I'm trying to remember. I don't remember what the first match. I remember Chris fighting Carson in the woods. I remember he beat the fuck out of Carson. Got his ass beat. He got dragged around in the trees and shit. And then that was like, I was at the point where it's like, I was done with the politics. I was done with all the cattiness that's been going on. And we resorted to, now we're in the fucking woods wrestling on plywood and tires. And I'm looking around going, is what XBW's become? Like, I've been here since day one. I've watched this shit evolve to where it's like we went up and then we tanked quickly. And I don't know what the fuck happened. Like, all I did was blink my eyes and everything was gone.
Yep.
And it was like sick Mexicans stopped showing up to events. It was just like nobody came anymore. And it was like upsetting because I'm like, oh, this was after Stan jump ship anyway. But
Well, actually, Stan was at the show with me. We interfered in the main event.
That's right.
We interfered in the main event just to kind of elaborate because
My
we
time
couldn't
ringed off.
We I don't know if that was before or after, but we interfered in the main event, and I kind of booked that show like a house show because I wanted to see what Beast and Craven would do in the main event picture, in the four-way match. And it actually was a good main event, and I actually wanted to elaborate more, but there was a reason we were in the woods, so we definitely weren't at times.
Real quick,
So-
Chris. It was you and King Carson walked away with the belt.
What was that?
At the 2008 we were talking about in the woods, it was you and King Carson walked away with the belt. Not Stan.
No.
No, it was me and Stan. Me and Stan jumped. King Carson cut the promo on Gar at the end. He cut the promo on Gar at the end of it. That's what he did. But no, it was me. It was definitely me and Stan that interfered in that match. And just to rewind the tapes a little bit more, real quick, I got a question from Mysterious Sheep. The Halloween show. Supposed to be our biggest show of the year to date. Every match had a stipulation in it. Do you remember your match? And do you remember what happened during that show?
Well, I was going to be turning heel. And it was going to be a big shot for the first time since I debuted, because I was technically heel when I debuted. It was going to be me turning heel, which is going to be a big shock, where I turned on my tag partner, part of Mysterious Threat, my son Ace at the time. And we were, just to prove a point, to prove that I always carried the team, we were going to have a three-way elimination match. So I think it was going to be an elimination table match, to be correct. So we had all these spots planned. It was going to be a fucking epic show. And unfortunately, it never happened. So I'll explain that. Unknown, who was the champion at the time, to prove a point, decided to want a no-show. Now, he was supposed to defend the belt or go in a match with Stan, and since he no-showed, Chris Sniper took his place, which would be pretty much the option at the time because he was his tag partner. No disrespect to Conant, who was there. But this is where I was going to turn heel, and I was going to join with them. Because I came to them and said, yo, how crazy would it be if I could turn heel and join with you guys? One, because it was kind of like an NWO situation where it's like all the good guys got their ass beat, and if you was either join them or take the beating. And I was like, yo, but how crazy, nobody would expect me, the top babyface in the company, to turn.
It's like seeing it turn heel.
Yeah, to turn heel. So I was like, this would be crazy. They wouldn't even know. So we waited, and we were going to keep it as a surprise. So Chris gets in the ring. They announce it. Stan goes to come out. Then Alexi was going to be announced as a special guest referee. And then before that, I think Conan gets on the mic and announces a new member. And I end up coming out. At this time, Stan thought it was like he was going to be jumped or whatever the case may be, or it was some sort of setup. So he goes off the books and throws a shoot and throws in a big temper tantrum with Sky and whoever else was there, I can't remember, and says that he's done. He's going to bury this company like he buried SRWC. I don't know, kind of is partially true, but and that he's out of here and he just walks out. So technically, that's how the end, in my eyes, of when XBW was done.
Pretty much, and kind of to elaborate on that a little bit, that wasn't your last match at all. Actually, you made a return.
I did.
And when you made a return at the Wild Samoan, Alpha and Sinca, in Allentown, Pennsylvania, in a WWF ring.
Yeah.
Elaborate on how you got brought into the company. What was the company, and who was your first match, and what did you think of the company?
It was Stan and Jason Cage's new company, RWS, that they were starting up. They had a show already prior to this, and they call me up and tell me that they want me to join. And I'm like, I don't know, like I really am not that interested. They're like, well, just come up. They're like, who knows? Well, you can have a match, and then afterwards you let us know what's going on. So we get up there, and instantly it's like it's a whole different vibe. It's like you can keep your name, but you got to change your attire.
And it was a job.
It was like night and day between the two, and I'm like, I'm not walking in to change my whole gimmick here. So they put me in a match with my brother, who changes his gimmick already. Well, he agreed to it, and I kind of agreed to it. I changed my attire in a way, but and they put me over with Chris Conant, and we had a 3-way. And
I want to elaborate before you continue on real quick. We actually talked the night before in your dad's house.
Yeah.
I came up with this. We're all spot freaks, all three of us. I said, let's start the match off with, we reversal, hit your finisher. Reversal, you hit your finisher. Reversal, I hit my finisher. We got 0 pop for our start of our match.
The problem with RWS is the whole company was written around Stan as being the champion, and he opened the show. He did his routine. He came out during the middle of the show. He ended the show in the main event. And it was just like everybody else was fillers for the Stan show, in other words, with Jason Cage basically the manager. And not necessarily knocking Jason Cage, but because I know how the whole politics run about the whole situation. But it's like fucking let the ego go away for a second and like, come on. It's like if you're trying to start something new, like change something up a little bit. Like everyone else had to change except for him.
Now I got a question for you guys. Were you guys shocked when Jason Cage won the first World Championship match?
Yeah, very.
Yeah, because the company, I'm going to tune in, the company was built to make Stan what he wasn't when I was booking it during the time era. During the time era, we were going a different direction with the company.
Yep.
We want Stan's direction the season prior before to see how it won. Stan has a great character. It gets over. It works. Mm-hmm. That's a character you can build a storyline with without a title belt.
Yeah.
It makes it look more powerful. But if you put the belt on somebody else, they can work a different program that people will actually care about at that point. That's my 2 cents.
Yeah.
And RWS, how many matches you worked for them?
2.
That's it, right?
That's it.
Reason behind it?
I was not it was just not what I expected, and I did the first show, and then I did the second show back at the old XBW arena, which was at Tom's with the New Era, and it was like a 3-match card. It was like Tom versus Eddie Drexler again, and then it was like
for the 20th time.
And then it was like a 6-man tag match.
Where Stan ends the win.
Stan ended up winning. And then I don't remember what the other match was. It was that forgettable to me. And at this point, I was like, you know what? I'm okay. I don't need to come back to this anymore.
You came to the Bounty show where we did the Bounty for Stan. You came to that one.
I did come, but I didn't. I did not work the show. I was there though.
I remember your RWS experience wasn't like how you were built up from XBW to where you became. That being said, I seen you at a UCW show where I main evented. Mm-hmm. And I got a question on that show because a lot of people want to know this. You were sitting front row for that show. I got to ride home with you, that show. The main event was me versus AJ Hudson which is AJ Sky. Mm-hmm. AJ said that he punches me to open up the show. And I fall, I drop, I'm not selling. That's real, he says. Can you elaborate? You were there. as a spectator. Let me know what your thoughts was on that, if you remember.
I remember AJ throwing a stiff punch. I don't remember Chris Conant being out cold like the rumors were. I remember him getting hit, selling, and then rolling out of the ring to where AJ wanted to do his dive. He wanted to do the dive over the ropes type thing.
Yep.
That's what I remember about that.
It ended up being a roll over the ropes, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
But UCW, it was the hottest backyard company at the time.
Mm-hmm.
You weren't working at the time.
It wasn't.
Numerous rumors saying that you were asked to come to the show. Why didn't you never make an appearance? I think it would have skyrocketed you, personally, being that AJ Hudson was the top face of the company, back to where you needed to be. And I said the same thing to Sniper. I said the same thing to Chris Sniper last week on our show. Why didn't you make the jump over? And what was the reason behind it? And tell me your thoughts at that time.
I appreciate everybody inviting me to come, and I would no problem come watch. The problem was at this point I felt like I was just so over it. I was burnt out and was just tired of just dealing with constant politics for the past year and a half, to the point where it was just like I needed a break and I just needed the time off. I didn't want to just jump right back into something that I was just so annoyed about. I feel compare myself to CM Punk in a way, where he was just so burnt out and just fed up that he wasn't happy at the moment, and he just needed to be get away from it before it ruined him. And that's how I felt, and I didn't want to jump onto something to start up something new when I wasn't invested in it.
And yeah, that's correct. And we're gonna excuse me. Like we do on every podcast, we get into questions at the end of the show. We bring up a few names, few questions. We end the show. We got something really special at the end of the show for you that I think is amazing. It's going to make this show monumental. So the viewers that are watching live, this is a monumental show. This isn't scripted. There's no format on this part of the show going forward. This is strictly live, guys, and we're going to do this live. No scripted format, every week with a different guest on. But to start you off with names, I'm going to start you off with companies now.
Okay.
UCW, what's your thoughts? And do you think you would have succeeded there?
I would never have a problem with exceeding. If you put me somewhere, I would make the best of it. UCW. Been the top dog in the case. Definitely succeeded. I don't know, it would have been nice if I broadened my horizon. I hated XBW that I didn't want to. I kind of felt like I was ruining what I've been through since day one in a way.
RWS.
Like I said, I was in RWS for 2 matches, and I was fine with just those 2 matches, but there was nothing, wasn't interested, it didn't pique my interest, I didn't expect to go anywhere. I was okay with doing what I had to do.
Chris Sniper,
hard worker. Very underrated, actually. He's very promising. I wanted to push him to see what he could do before, but people had issues with it. But I know if I gave him the belt, he would be able to run with it. He's very loyal, too. Give him that.
Your brother, the unknown.
Unknown, asshole. No. Very technical. He was very good at what he did, especially for the whole technical aspect. He would do the submissions, suplexes all over the place. Another hard worker. Someone who was good at working but horrible on the mic.
We're gonna go with Sick Mexican.
Fucking the Paul Heyman of XBW. Fucking seriously, this guy's fucking the mind lessons, man. Only I wish Stan never dropped him on his head. He would still be fucking doing what he'd be doing.
Just, I know you got 2 guys for him. Just give him 2 guys.
I'm gonna say
Tom.
Oh, I love it.
Tom, it was like one, he's a little nutty. Fucking little nutty, but shoot. But Tom was a decent worker. He just had too many fucking issues.
Literally.
Literally and figuratively.
What about Stan?
Fucking Stan, great worker, shitty personality. Outside of the ring, he was awesome dude, but like, as soon as you talked anything wrestling, it was straight politics, straight just whatever. But Stan was a good worker. He was very easy to work with. Just shitty when it came to wrestling.
My favorite plug of the whole night, DV1. My favorite plug of the whole night. I love plugging this guy in.
DV1 with his RKO out of nowhere. This guy used to fucking like, he's like the fucking Carson of the era, which would have been the dream, the Arthur Shipley of fucking XBW. This guy got his ear ripped off. I give him props for that, and he still wrestled and finished the match. But motherfucker, learn to take a bump. Jesus Christ.
I'm going to leave the room for this one. Chris Conant.
Chris Conant. All right. Chris Conant, another.
I want to shoot. I want a Chris Conant shoot. I want to shoot.
Chris Conant, all right.
The goods and the bads of Chris Conant.
All right. Great on the mic. Great, hard worker. Great worker. When you first came, you were a little sloppy. Mm-hmm. Gotta give you that. But like, you went and started attacking. You fucking mastered your craft. Stiff, love it. Stiff, love the stiffness because I'm
and I didn't even know
stiff wrestler. You didn't know you were stiff. Oh Jesus Christ!
I was fat.
But fat. Those heavy fucking punches.
I want the Newman.
The rolling fucking Black Thunder.
The Black and White Thunder when Sniper joined.
That was the worst because
that was the worst.
You jumped higher than him, so after you hit, you had no time to breathe because Chris was rolling on top of you afterwards.
Yeah.
No, but
it's like a preview of The Sky Is Falling. Just execute it.
You once you got your foots and your bearing straight and you fucking held your own. You were agile for as big as you were. It was like it made it work.
Jason Cage.
Jason Cage, great fucking talker, great talker, great guy. I gotta shoot him a plug here. I give you mad props. I already gave you props for coming out and everything, dude. You're fucking, I'm so proud of you. So proud. You have such courage, man. Never really got to see. I only seen you work a couple times. Too bad you had a bad back, but you were in my corner from day one since you showed up. You're a great guy, man. Always good friend of mine.
Crazy Drew.
We're getting
Crazy Drew.
We're getting our introduction out. We gotta cut it short.
We gotta cut it short.
I got it from here. Just all right. I'm gonna go one more name, then I'm gonna go into our main event segment that everybody in the world's been waiting to hear on what this main event segment is. Just one more name, AJ Hudson Sky, and then I'm gonna cut into it.
Sky was abomination when he first started. It was just the worst. He was huge. He was just awful. They had that Rambler Park wrestling bullshit.
I was their world champion.
Yeah, it was awful. But the more he stuck around, the more he learned. He sunk everything in. The more like his working became better. And I like from the couple matches we had, it's gotten better every time, so I can't really knock the guy. Like he's been doing pro now. I give him all the power in the world. Same with Stan. He's still doing pro. God, fucking good for sticking out. But for Sky at least, like shit, like that Sky Is Falling sucks, and you need to fucking bait a little bit because that ball sucks and it's around here. But but dude, I give you mad props. You held your own when time came. That you've gotten so much better. It reminds me of like the mind of like Angle. Like Angle learned very quickly, and he knew it was either sink or swim, and he fucking swam.
That is, and there's something I want to get up here.
The lights.
Yeah, there's actually something that I want to get up here, and what this is for the fans. I'm actually not going to show us to our comeback show on exactly what this is right here. This is a plaque. and I'm actually going to give it to Mysterious G. And what this plaque is, guys, we've been waiting forever to do this to him. And what this plaque is, me and Justin's been talking about this for a while. Sniper's been hitting me on what it is for a minute. He actually knew about it. We actually is going to give this to you during our first reunion show, and this is going to be unveiled during our first reunion show. We want to officially announce you're a 5-time XBW World Champion. Your legacy in XBW is unbearable. Your wrestling history in the Backyard Company is unreal. You are the best worker. You had the best character. Your moveset weren't boring. You are the first official Hall of Famer to the XBW, baby. Mysterious J, I want to be the first to shake your hand and thank you for it, too, as well.
This is awesome.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations, Mysterious J.
Thank you so much. The only thing I can really say is XB fucking W, baby.
And this is not a shoot. This is real. Our first Hall of Famer on XBW Off the Air. Guys, it's been a pleasure, Sick Mexican, to join us. It's been a pleasure, Mysterious J. Thank you for giving back to the company. We wish to see you at the reunion show to have one more match, if any, or just to come there just to talk or whatever you want to do.
You know I will be there. I will be there.
You heard it from the horse's mouth. I want to thank you again. I love you, my friend. And also, I want to apologize for our stuff in the past, and Justin as well for just his shenanigans as well. And we talked about this beforehand, and that's why I wanted to get you here. And I want to thank you for all your contributions to the company.
Thank you, Gar. Thank you, Gar, for having us on the show. And
dude, it's a pleasure, man. Thank you for having me.
Once again, guys, likes, guys, comments, message me, Facebook me, hit me up on that. We got subscribers trying to subscribe. Hit us up. Mysterious G, baby.